Hi, welcome to another episode here of the Team Playbook. Today we got Larry here, who is a man of many hats and has a ton of experience here in the South Florida area. Larry, please introduce yourself.
Thanks for having me. I'm Larry Mastropieri. I'm a real estate broker in South Florida. I run a small team. Our central point is Boca Raton, and we work between really Broward County and Palm Beach County. So that's Fort Lauderdale, that's Delray Beach, Boca Raton, and then that's West Palm. Those are the major cities, really. We also own about 150 apartments, and so I've been investing for about 15 years as a real estate broker as well. And what else do I do? Well, my background is mechanical and chemical engineering, and that's what I used to do until I moved over full time into this. So that's a little bit
That's
about me.
great.
Yeah,
And my background too, I actually have a chemistry degree, and now I'm in the lending world.
there you go.
Kind of
Yeah,
similar, right? Different
yeah.
areas of real estate, but that's great. So that's great. Yeah, again, you wear many hats. You do a lot out there. Obviously, you know your area well. Um, Given your extensive experience here in the whole South Florida, real estate market, what do you see as the biggest challenges and bottlenecks that you deal with on a daily basis?
For Is this for buyers and sellers in your opinion, or
Uh, I
realtors?
mean,
What do you want to focus on?
yeah, let's focus on your business right now, and then we'll get to the buyer side and what we're dealing with
Yeah.
individuals.
All right. Yeah, I can talk about this all day. We'll start with this. South Florida is a unique beast. We have team members from all over the country that are on our team that have relocated here and are basically have restarted their business here when they moved here. And time and time again, people are surprised at how unique the South Florida real estate business is. And so I'd say the uniqueness of South Florida on is due to just the transient nature of the population, right? There's a lot of vacationers. There's a lot of people from outside the country. So you have a very diverse population, a population that's moving around a lot. You have a definitely New York influence. So that culture, that personality comes here. So it's an interesting market. It's very competitive. There are definitely a lot of real estate agents here, and compared to some other parts of the country, it's easy to get a real estate license, and where a lot of people have their real estate license here. So those are just the headwinds of working on a team or being a real estate agent here in general. It's when you show up to work as a realtor, it's not easy. It's hard work. You gotta be really good at what you do, right? You gotta
Hmm.
be good at sales. You gotta be very knowledgeable about the product you're selling, which is great on some level because it makes you great if you stick it out, right?
Hmm.
And so that's the conversation I have with most agents that are about to join the team. This is not an easy business to be in. You really got to work hard. You're going to spend a lot of time running around, a lot of time on the phones, a lot of time getting really smart about the product. And even then, you're just going to deal with a very unique population, a unique customer pool, and it's gonna challenge you every which way,
Hmm.
because you're meeting every type of person here, and so on some level, like I said, that's challenging, but on some level, it makes you an incredible realtor if you really are here to level up and do the work. But when it comes to my business and what our hurdles or bottlenecks are, I have to think about this. I would say we're building a team, right? And we're building towards doing more luxury business. And there's specific work that needs to be done in order to get there, right? So again, training the team, getting them really good. It's not as easy to plug in a team here as it is in other parts of the country. I can say this because my family were realtors in New Jersey, different environment, absolutely. And so, and again, I'm getting that feedback from the people that join the team as well. So the team thing requires a lot of effort, a lot of a lot of attention to training and building skills, and then as far as generating luxury business, that requires a whole different marketing strategy than maybe
Hmm.
the applied to the masses. So we have a pretty beefy infrastructure. We have about five operations staff, TCs, listing managers, etc., and we have 5 marketing people. These are all full-time people. We hire abroad quite a bit. One of our challenges was finding good people. Recently, I think we've cracked that code through some unique hiring strategies in Latin America. So these are just little things we're chipping away at because, again, good people that can actually sell, good people that can actually operate, can actually market is what really drives a business, right? And we can move much faster if everybody's good. So we've been working through that, and I think we got to a point where it's working. One of our big challenges too is just, or at least mine is, we want to build the brand, build the content, but I'm also selling 150 homes a year personally, and the team's
Hmm.
doing other numbers, and it's hard to be a real realtor and also generate content at scale
Yeah.
like some of these incredible real estate teams have done, right?
Hmm.
And so that's one of our challenges, optimizing that, and that's why we have a pretty strong team on the marketing side to try to do both really well. It's challenging. It's challenging. It really
And I
is.
feel like does your Discover South Florida tie into that?
Yeah.
Helping you solve that problem?
So we have a media arm or brand, you can call it, where we are informing, educating, enjoying, conversing about the South Florida real estate market, and we do a YouTube live every week. We also create other content on South Florida's real estate market, and all that goes into that Discover South Florida brand. And so it's the Mastropieri Group as the brokerage, and Discover South Florida as the media brand that just helps educate our clients, helps drive traffic to our business, helps build brand awareness. And there's definitely some agents out there that have done a way better job at this than we have from a viewership perspective.
Hmm.
Not so much in South Florida, but elsewhere in the country. And we're trying to grow to that level, right? We've had the success of selling equivalent, if not more, homes than some of these other guys who have had success in the YouTube space, et cetera. But we had that success early with other marketing strategies, with other partnerships, et cetera. And so we're going to continue to grow that, obviously, and build that. But building a brand is very important in our opinion, and that's kind of how you build longevity in the business. That's how you kind of secure your business, in our opinion. And so we think it's very important to focus on that. But when you've already had such great success, and then you go ahead and they're like, okay, I'm going to build this digital brand and do really well with that, it's hard to, you're constantly being pulled back to service the business that you've created.
Yeah.
And so that's probably our biggest challenge at a high level. There's so much
Hmm.
nuance to that, but you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing, I mean, just South Florida in general, I mean, all of Florida is experiencing exponential growth. It's one of the fastest growing areas in the entire country. What's that been like, sort of navigating that? I imagine there's a lot of competition too, um, that you're dealing with, and just things popping up all the time. It's like how do you focus and where do you put your focus? I mean, you've already mentioned you're trying to, you're going to the luxury area, and that requires a specific approach. But what's that just been like?
yeah, to your point, the density of humans in South Florida specifically is is substantial. It's greater than other parts of the country. Not everywhere, but definitely at the top of the list. And and so yes, there's more competition here for sure. I think, how do you stay focused? I think we that's a real challenge, especially for me, because I'm super interested in knowing everything. And the only way you really know is if you try something, right? So you can
Hmm.
make a judgment about, oh, he's a YouTube guy and I could do that, but I choose not to. But could you really do that? Or is it really working? Is it really generating business? And so I think there's a lot in the real estate business that out there that is distracting. But on the other hand, I think if you pick any of these ways to create or build your business, then and you focus on it, you're probably going to be successful, whether it's YouTube or Google Business Profile or cold calling or door knocking or mailers, whatever it is. I can name agents that that are successful at every one of those things individually because they've built a skill set at it. And that's where I think you get in South Florida, because of the competitive nature of the business. You can't be like 80% good at something. You can't be 80% focused on it. You get it done and you win on these things, specifically in the marketing space, when you go all in and commit and obsess. And then when you think you figured it out, you go deeper, right? And then when you think you figured it out again, we try to do this thing where it's like, okay, we think we got this, great. Let's go hire that other consultant that we overlooked and just like really dig into it again. And inevitably, every time we do that, I'm just like, wow, golden nugget, right? Wow, I can't believe I was about to abandon my my research phase and just accept that. And so when you do that here in South Florida in this competitive space, that's where I think you win. And so in order to do that, you need to focus, because it takes a lot of effort. Like it takes way more energy than I think most people can appreciate to like get good at, I don't know, let's say Google Business Profile, YouTube, mailers. Like, you think this is simple. You think you can hire someone and get it right. It's not in a highly competitive space. Can you do that? You need to be an expert at that one thing. And so again, that's where the distraction comes in, because like you can try to do too many things. On some level, I would argue we're doing more things than we should, and we continue to kind of like figure out where we need to like point that laser and just focus so we can win. So
yeah, and I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of leaders such as yourself, and the overarching term I always hear is like working on your business, not in your business, right? It's knowing where to focus and do that, and where to spend your time, and to table those things or move those things to the people that you got to trust, right?
yeah,
it's not an easy thing to do as you grow and scale, and as it's to give something up that you don't know if it's going to be done the way you want it to be, and I know it's a challenge for a lot of people.
And that goes back to the people thing, right? So like it's like if you have good people that you feel like you could trust, well then you can move it along. And for me, I'm okay with giving it up, assuming the result is going to generate revenue, right? At a similar level or an acceptable level. Maybe we're going to accept that it's not going to be as great. And unfortunately, what I think a lot of realtors do is they build their business around them. And good realtors that are really good at what they do, it's very hard to replicate their conversion rate, et cetera, right? And so for me, what I had to learn here, and what I'm learning, and I'm trying to figure this out as we speak right now, it's like, okay, the conversion rate's going to be like half of mine, like just half. So I can't build a business around spending X amount of dollars on the marketing side, expecting that the revenue or the conversion is going to be my level, right? Yeah. And so we need to just like half that and then decide if this thing's actually going to work. Otherwise, we might as well just go back to me selling 150 homes a year, doing 100 plus to 125 million in sales volume, and just work, right? Because I'm working equally as hard on both sides, right? So if I'm working on the business and delegating, or working in the business and not delegating, or delegating substantially less and just focused on being like the one-off guy with a few team members that are just supporting, it's the same workload, it's the same effort, at least in the early days, than otherwise. It's like the dream is you reach some escape velocity, and then because you've worked on the business instead of in the business, you now have some separation, you have some balance in your life, you have an income that kind of is more passive, whatever it is, right? Yeah. And I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of brokers, especially in this area. They're like, that's a dream. It's a
Yeah.
dream. Forget about it, man.
I think
Yeah.
there's always people though that it's. I mean, we're wired different. Where it's just like you just gotta be. You always want to be in, no matter what. It's like,
Yeah.
and those are. I think those are the people that are the most successful out of all of us because they just have some engine inside them that they just you can't replicate. There's people
They're
like that.
good with it. It's not like
Yeah,
stressful for them. That's the
exactly.
successful people. It's like the people that are like really killing themselves to do the same performance level
Yeah,
versus the guy that gets up every morning. He just does it. He just does it. It's not even a thing, right?
yeah,
That's what I've looked at, and I'm like trying to replicate that
yeah,
personality or that mentality that's
yeah,
just like no
yeah,
stress. This is what I
yeah,
do. I work 12 hours, 13, 14 hours a day. No problem. Right. That's
yeah,
not even like, I'm not stressed about it, you know? And
yeah.
so I think part of that's conditioning. Part of that's like just a human personality. Right. And so, yeah.
Well, some great tidbits there. More topical for you right now. That's in the news at the moment. Property taxes in Florida. That's a big thing that's being talked about. I mean, that's nationwide coverage. It's being talked about. How is this going to impact? And it appears like it may be going through. With that, how do you see that impacting your business in Florida?
Wow. Yeah. I think so how do I see that impacting our business? Well, let's take a step back. It's likely that it's like my perspective, it's likely that a change happens. So it's likely that some version of the
Hmm.
idea abolish property tax or reduce property tax happens.
Hmm.
So, and I think with the recent House vote and all these things, it's an indication that's the case. And then when you think about just politicians overall, um, and you think about the politicians that are voting for this or pushing this, they don't even get this money. Like it goes to the
Yeah.
cities and counties. So like when you think about this, they just want to get. I mean, who would vote against eliminating property tax when or be against it when you know the population of Florida is unlikely to reelect or
Yeah.
get behind you, right? So I think it's going to happen, and the question is how awesome is it going to be? We've talked
Hmm.
about how the schools and the police funding will remain. By the way, that's like a third of the. I don't know if it's a third, but it's at least a quarter
Yeah. It's a chunk,
of
a
your
big
property
chunk.
tax. So
Yeah.
a quarter is going to be there, okay, for everyone. That's staying. But there's no one has disputed that, and no one's going to go against that. So we can just say, okay, so it's 75% is like probably the best outcome here. And then there's versions of this, all different versions of this. How does that work? And the big thing here is just high level. It's not property tax for every single property. It's property tax for people who have homesteaded their property. So if it's a secondary home, secondary residence, and you're not homesteaded here, you're unlikely to get this outcome where you get 75% of your property tax eliminated. But if you're a
Hmm.
primary resident and you live here and you're recorded as a primary residence according to the property appraiser, then you're likely to get this result. And right now they have what they call a $50,000 rebate or whatever you want to call it against property tax assessed value. So if your property is assessed at 300,000 and this is your primary residence, they'll deduct it by 50 that 300 grand to 250, and then you get taxed on the 250. They've proposed a whole bunch of different things, right? They
Hmm.
proposed, hey, we'll increase it to 100 grand. And we'll increase to 100 grand for the next 10 years, 100 grand each year increase, right? So 100 grand this year, 200 grand next year, 300, and kind of walk it up. One of the things I think they will likely do is I don't think this will be immediate. And this gets back to like, how is this going to affect things, right? I don't think you're going to just abolish all primary resident property tax or overnight here. Why? Because they got to figure out how to fund everything.
Yeah.
The counties, the cities, they use these funds. They spend money keeping the roads up, right? All these other things besides police and fire and school.
Hmm.
So likely this is going to be a slower burn, but end at a really good, probably a really positive outcome. And the just question is how positive is it going to be for people who own homes? I'm pretty pro this. I
Hmm.
think everybody is pretty much pro this. I think it's a
Hmm.
really interesting experiment, and I'd be pumped if they would just do away with all property tax and maybe
Hmm.
they'll run it out over 10 years, or at least do it up to $1 million, which is the proposal, right? One of the proposals, it's
Hmm.
like, hey, $1 million off. So the people who are very well off maybe contribute a little bit more than others. So it'll be interesting to see, but I think generally this is going to drive more traffic to South Florida, not less.
Hmm.
So when people ask me this, I'd say the question is it going to move the needle or is it not? And that's all going to be determined by how awesome the bill is that they roll out, right?
Yeah.
And so TBD on how awesome it's going to be, but I think it will net positively impact uh, population growth to South
Because
Florida
I,
or
I
Florida.
definitely see that. Like I see the population growth, like, oh, I don't have to pay taxes on my primary home or it's just very reduced. I can 100%. But I can also see that for, and I know one of the arguments that is used there is for, empty nesters or people that have a much bigger home, but they don't want to necessarily go buy a new home and have their reassessment and maybe cause movement within Florida. So it helps open up a little bit, maybe more inventory too.
Yeah, there's some truth to that too. I was just debating this with someone else the other day too.
Yeah.
And there also, remember, there's something that you can, what's the word I'm looking for? My brain is not working. You can transfer your property tax savings from one property to the next. And so there is, well, if property tax goes away altogether, well then who cares? It's like
Yeah.
really good. They'll
Yeah.
they'll move. To your point, it'll
Yeah.
move. If property taxes goes away like 25% or 50%, then maybe it's not as big of an incentive as we hope to move people around. So yeah, we'll see. That's valid too. A lot of questions are around like, what about investors and how does the rent work for that, right? Like,
Hmm.
do rents go up? Do they go down? Do they stay the same? What happens there, right? Because
I would
again,
imagine renters probably try and hold, or the landlords would try and hold firm for as long as they can. But it's competition, right? You're creating more
exactly.
competition. You'd expect, yeah, okay, maybe I can reduce, I can drive more people to my project over here, or like, uh,
If
and
you
that's good for
if you
everybody.
if you keep a population growth
Yeah,
and population growth without more
yeah,
property is also going is whether it be rental
yeah,
or just homes is also a thing.
yeah,
South Florida especially, there's not a lot of places to build homes. So
yeah,
and arguably we're light on the amount of supply
yeah,
versus the amount of population growth. And so you drive more population growth, it likely drives up prices. Um, um, Period. Without forget the
yeah,
tax incentive for a second. If population growth
yeah,
increases more, like during COVID, like you'll get price
yeah,
appreciation. So that's another thing where some of our buyers are just looking to get in now because the expectation is this is going to happen, and if it happens, they want to be ready to go, or they're just waiting and watching. So I think it's helping the market right now between the interest rates being a little bit better than they've been, and all these like pipe dreams, right? If you will, property tax being one of them. It's like I think it's influencing buyers to be more aggressive and be more comfortable getting out there and buying a home. Yeah, we're seeing the
yeah,
market improve a little bit right now. It is also the
yeah,
season of selling. So
yeah. There's so many moving parts to it, and I can see so many different factors playing into it, where we sort of end up in the same sort of spot that we're at, but just with growth. Which I mean, in the end, like that's what like especially South Florida has been experiencing a ton already.
as real estate people, I mean, more growth is kind of ideal, right, for
Yeah,
us. Whether it's
yeah.
population, more construction, et cetera, it's just net positive for us as a business.
So we'll pivot back a little bit to your business here. So you have Discover South Florida here, this whole media, side of your business. How do you see that growing, the next 6, 12 months? Like what does the success look like for you as you continue working on that?
Yeah, good question. We've set goals to do certain things, and really it's around increasing viewership, increasing brand awareness and credibility. And so we believe if we just continue to do the things that are important to us, that we think are interesting, we'll find our avatar out there, right? And so our focus has just been refining and being more specific about the type of content we're talking about, the type of content we're creating, and improving how we deliver that content, whether it be by quality of production or
Hmm.
scripting or just hunting down the right people to interview. So all the
Hmm.
above is what we're working towards, which is a lot of things when you start to think about when you start to think about film editing, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of tactics and there's a lot of ways to get distracted in that business too. Just in like YouTube video creation, you can. Oh man,
Yeah.
there's so much nuance to
Yeah.
it.
There
So
is. And it
yeah,
seems like the way content's even access now, and how people consume the content, it changes all the time. And right now it seems like it's all about the shorts, right? It's all, can you, because everyone's only looking at something for 30 seconds, like can you grab that attention like that?
yeah,
And especially in your world where it's like you have to build this amount of trust with any clients that you work with, like that's tough.
yeah,
And it's like,
yeah.
how are, how are you going about that? And what's the best ways and approaches to take with that?
Yeah, and what we've been working on, and I've grown so much since starting this journey of video. I was a very shy human. I was an engineer. This is not what you can just look at a typical engineer. I was probably a little different,
Yeah.
but pretty close. And I didn't have social media. I was a ghost, and then I switched it on because that was the business I chose, which is real estate. And you kind of got to be out there if you want to sell real estate. People got to know who you are. So, our thing, what I've been working on is just authenticity, like these conversations right here, improving how we articulate, how we show up, and just doing it authentically versus the alternative, which is maybe scripted or AI or et cetera, et cetera. And we've been
Hmm.
finding positive results from that effort. And there's a lot more work to do there personally for me, which again, this is like what's really interesting. And I'll go back to what I said earlier, like when something's really challenging and you can solve it, that makes you great. You grow a lot. And so this thing's really challenging. It was really challenging for me early on, and now still we're working towards improving on so many levels. What that looks like.
Hmm. So, as a business owner, you've already alluded a couple times to it, but like, what are some key metrics that you like to focus on that are important to you? Whether, weekly, monthly, what is it that you focus in on that once you move the needle on that, you start seeing that improvement. Just start seeing that.
Yeah, yeah. So for us, 2 years ago, we're a completely different business than we are today. So our team is relatively new. It's 2 years old. Really, I can say that we entered 2026 with a team that I'm happy with on the sales side, that I think have the potential to do a lot of business. And prior to that, it was just trial and error, bringing people on, not being prepared to have them, not being prepared to feed them leads. And one of the things that we look at pretty closely here now is, and how our business works is just lead gen. So our agents aren't physically lead genning, right? They're not doing cold calls, expireds, et cetera. They're simply, if you join our team, the phone just keeps ringing, and that's it, and you're responsible for picking up the phone and servicing the client, right? And so managing total lead volume has been a big thing, and we've done a pretty good job about that. And a lot of that growth has come from not so much video, but more search engine optimization, AI overview
Hmm.
optimization, Google business profile, and just doing a really good job at getting great reviews and helping customers and building that platform out. And then in parallel, the video stuff has been reinforcing more so than top of funnel. So if we can get top of funnel with video, that'll be huge. It'll generate more leads. But on the sales team side, it's like these are like two very different things. And so the sales team side, we've been building out the metrics. We're kind of like building the plane while we're jumping off the cliff, right? So
Yeah.
I think as of 2026, we're relatively more dialed in on that front, and we're measuring talk time, how long someone's on the phone. So anybody on our team is using Follow Up Boss, and they're using a Follow Up Boss number, and you must communicate through Follow Up Boss, period, hard stop, no personal phones. And so we know exactly how long you've been on the phone. We can listen to all the calls. We can diagnose. And so going through that process of, did you set the appointment? How often did you set the appointment? What's that ratio, et cetera, et cetera? And just go down the list. What's your conversion rate overall? How much
Hmm.
transaction volume did you do? And so we're at a point where now we're able to do that. And we're also at a point where now we're able to, if you're not doing your job, if you're not following up with leads at the proper cadence, then you're getting turned off lead flow. And so once we started doing that, it was pretty incredible. This was like 3 months ago.
Hmm.
We went from a talk time of like 10 hours on average. By the way, my talk time is always 3 days. So just
Yeah.
for context, 3 days a month on a 30-day window. So like my
Yeah.
talk time was always 3 days. That's what a producer does. Okay. And then
Hmm.
the team's talk time was like 10 hours on average or something, maybe even less. And then now
Hmm.
we're at like a day or a day and a half of talk time now that we've implemented the consequences to the expectations we were talking about. So inspecting what we expect
Hmm.
on a high level, and really doing that work to make sure everyone's following the protocol, and everyone's transacting more. It's an incredible thing. So I think we are just constantly solving problems and trying to figure this out. And there's so many going on that I could say I just solved like a month ago, and there's so many that I'm
Yeah.
like targeting, trying to figure out what we need to do to get that right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, especially the engineering background, so like you get the numbers. Like okay, how ones can impact others. And I was always a big numbers guy, especially in my world where I came from. I was a director of banking for a while, so reviewing my team, like how they're doing, I would just break it down to the the simplest. Like okay, converting here, there, like what does it mean? Like okay, especially in your world where again that talk time is probably that much more impactful, and I can get that from a real estate agent perspective. It's because you got to build that trust, right? It's
yeah,
tough.
we measure how many leads you've taken, how many calls you've made in a 30-day window or a week window, depending on where we're inspecting, how much time you're on the phone. And the reality is if your talk time goes up, your shots on goal go up. You,
Hmm.
and then if we're inspecting how you're communicating, and that's what we do in morning meetings now. It's everybody's on the call at 8:15 a.m. every morning. It's a 30-minute call, the whole team. Everybody must be there. It's mandatory, and each day we do something different. And like Wednesday this morning, we reviewed 3 calls and listened to the inbound call, and did we hit the core talking points that we're supposed to on that inbound call. And if we didn't, we talk about it. Now everyone knows that they're
Hmm.
possibly going to get listened to on a morning
Yeah.
meeting. And you don't want to sound like a
Yeah.
moron, do you? You better
Yeah.
learn the script, man. You better learn
Yeah.
it, or you're going to sound like a moron. And so and everyone's going to comment on it. And so this is like a practice that has improved our business as well. Listening to the team's calls. We do it for we do it for different lead sources, right? We'll do it for the Zillow lead sources, which is relatively new for us, and then
Hmm.
do it for like just, I don't know, Google local service ads or whatever
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
campaign we're running. Yeah.
Yeah. Get it real specific. So it sounds like you have some real good scripting, and the sales focus is I mean always huge. I think a lot of people forget that. Yeah, in the end, like there's a lot of tactics and things that we actually need to do here that is going to help you be more successful. You're not just the pals with your clients. I'm sorry, like there is some tactics you actually got to implement here, and it sounds like you've definitely focused in on that.
And again, we've had to learn this, because like at some level, like a good agent, sometimes it comes naturally. Sometimes their rapport building skills are so great that they can like be weak on like the entry or whatever that looks like, right? Or the intro. And so And so like a good agent, when like for me, like a producing agent coming to run a sales team, I never thought I would run a sales team. This is crazy. So this is not my personality to run a sales team. So so like when you do your thing for so long, and then you think about like, how do I help everybody else do this thing, and they're all different personalities.
Hmm.
It's a different beast. It's a different beast because you didn't have to go through that maybe sales training per se, because you built
Yeah.
your own little thing that worked, and then you just internalized it. You didn't write it down, you didn't notate it out. And now we've got this like very specific system around how we do the intro, et cetera, and control as much as, or educate as much as we can to like have a better outcome or increase the probability of success. The Zillow stuff has been huge for that. Like we take a lot of Zillow leads. More recently, we're now a Zillow preferred team, and
Hmm.
so that's been like the coaching, the education, and the required execution and the management of the quality execution from Zillow's perspective and from our perspective. Like as we're watching the stats, has been like a game changer for us too. It's just these are things we're like dialing in on because we know we get less leads if you
Yeah.
don't have the certain ratings, right? And so you got to do the script, you got to do this thing because the AI is listening to you and all this other crazy stuff. So we've implemented things like that where the
Hmm.
AI is listening to the call and grading you, all
Yeah.
that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is a great tool. It's one that like I mentioned, I do consulting. That's one that I use for a lot of the brokers that I consult with. It's incredibly effective. Hey guys, this is our rule book here. Like this is what we get. Like it's not this is something we have to do, and then you can easily rank, see how people are doing, what's actually being executed and what's not. Holding that accountability, which is always a little uncomfortable, but you're doing it for your guys. You're not doing it because you feel like you want to make them feel bad. You're doing it because you want them to be successful, right? So
You have to do it.
yeah,
I can't tell you how crazy it's been from just saying, "Hey guys, do this," and then not holding accountability for it.
yeah,
There's that element of holding accountability, which requires infrastructure, which is tough when you're running a team. That's the other piece. Like we go from single agent to running a team. It's like, okay, now we need somebody to watch the 1,000+ leads that come in every month. And now we need to listen to these calls in the morning. We need to audit stuff. We need to see what's going on, because if you don't do that, people just burn the leads. They cheat the system. They try to, they
yeah.
try to optimize for their own well-being, and they dump a ton of leads, whatever it is. And so
Hmm.
it's crazy what holding people accountable does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, we're gonna start wrapping up here a little bit. I guess just for your clients out there, give the pitch here for you, right? The audience that we have for this is it's real estate focused, but hey, someone's looking for a home in South Florida, right? Why should we go over to your group here, and how do we find you?
Yeah. So, somebody asked me this the other day, and I took a second to think about it. And so, I think they said, "What do we get from Larry when we work with you?" And so, I really think this is just core to me. It's just the personal drive to be the most knowledgeable, and the immense curiosity that I have creates that. So expertise is one thing that you can find, and that's what we expect of our team as well. I can't tell you how much effort we put into that alone. So expertise is what you can expect, on top of just a high level of integrity, because that's just a fundamental value that we all hold. But again, if you really want incredible expertise from someone, they're not going to hold back the truth about a specific transaction or something like that. So I think high level, what you get from us that's superior to almost everybody in the area is just expertise. And again, go see Discover South Florida. It's amazing for that demonstration, right? How much we know about the product in the area, and then just high levels of integrity, very direct communication, and a lot of communication.
Well, that's great. Well, what's the best website for you?
DiscoverSouthFlorida.com.
.com. Well, that was great. Any last final thoughts that you'd like to share with our audience here that maybe we haven't covered?
I think I'm good.
All right. All right. Well, thank you, Larry. This was great. I got another episode here of the Team Playbook in the books. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, man. Take care.